Hi, I'm Betty, and one of the things that I enjoy doing is baking in my free time. So I like baking. Something that I like to bake, especially during the fall season, is pumpkin bars. And then I make icing to go on top of pumpkin bars that is not too sweet, but not too tart. So the reason that I like baking pumpkin bars mostly is, especially around this time of the year, I really don't like pumpkin pie, and I just really wanted to find an alternative to pumpkin pie. And I just stumbled across the pumpkin bar recipe, and now every time around this year, I just try to make some pumpkin bars and share them. Whenever I decided to make my pumpkin bars, I was actually making a cake and then decided to just throw the pumpkin in it. And I like to kind of mess around with recipes sometimes and see what I can make with them. Sometimes they don't end so well, but every professional baker knows that sometimes you burn a pie or two trying to find a new recipe. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of practice, and honestly, a lot of fire extinguishers to become a professional baker like me. And yes, sometimes fires happen in the kitchen. Some are supposed to be there, some are not. However, being a professional baker, it's all about trial and error and knowing what to fix and when to fix it. And if you just keep failing and failing and failing with no way of fixing it, then you probably aren't a professional. But if you continue to try and actually make a really good recipe, you got yourself a book there, bud. So, baking emotionally, sometimes I just sit there and bake whenever I can't figure something out, or if I'm stressed, or I just get overwhelmed. I just start to bake, and honestly, it helps me release a lot. And it helps you sit there and think, because you're not thinking about the issues that you have going on in your life. You're thinking about the recipe and what you're about to make, and just somehow it all comes together. Some people, like every other profession, they just grow up learning on how to do things, so they don't really have to go to school for being a professional baker. But there are a lot of culinary chefs who do go to school and earn a degree in the title of it, but other people just kind of learn it in their free time, like myself. I did not go to school to college for baking. I just kind of picked it up and have stuck with it. So I do think baking is a work of art. Many folks make a career out of it. However, for me personally, it does take a lot of time, a lot of sweat and tears, and a lot of hours of staying up late. And I had to put it on the back burner because I need to have a job that I could focus on more than the baking. And baking does take a lot of time, and I just haven't made a career out of it quite yet. So my word of advice to the upcoming bakers who are going to try to be professionals, I would say stick with it, because honestly, you never know what you'll get. Sometimes you might try to burn down the whole house, but honestly, it didn't quite catch fire, so you're still pretty good. And it may be tough to stick with it, and I know you probably won't be as good as me, but you can always keep trying, and maybe one day you'll get close enough. But good luck to you. Some things that I like to bake is cakes. I like making different animals with my cakes. I didn't know what to say, honestly, so I was like, what the I'm gonna say, well, I like baking pies. There we go.
Are you gonna bake a pie tonight?
Oof, shoot, it needs to be something that I can bake, huh?
Yeah, something that you can
Tonight.
Do you have cookies?
I have stuff to make cookie dough.
Cookie dough makes cookies.
Yes.
Okay, so you have...
And then Am I supposed to be like, okay, this is like one of those videos that you watch from the 1980s and they're like, I'm like, okay. So, are you recording this whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm gonna be like,